Hello, you're watching Leadership TV News. I am Cynthia Onado. Here are the news headlines. Why my U.S. visa was revoked permanently, Professor Soyinka. Peter Obi decries infiltration of Nigeria's courier services sector by crime networks. President Tinubu seeks Senate confirmation of newly appointed service chiefs. Multi-millionaire assets rot away as the Ministry of Water Resources fails to hold auction. And finally, banks placed Nestoil under receivership over $1 billion debt. Thanks for joining us. Here is the news in detail. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has disclosed that his American visa has been revoked permanently. Soyinka, who read the letter of visa permanent revocation at a media party in Lagos on Tuesday, noted that he received a letter of visa revocation last Thursday, October 23rd, and that the development seemed like being witch-hunted because of his stance against the policies of U.S. President Donald Trump. Recall that in December 2016, the renowned author, poet, and playwright tore his green card after Trump's electoral triumph for his first term in office. Speaking at the media party held at the Freedom Park, Lagos, with the theme on ending saga, Idi Amin in white face, Soyinka, who now resides in Nigeria, read the letter from the U.S. consulate in Lagos. The letter read thus: "Dear Mr. Soyinka, this letter serves as official notification of the United States Consulate that the non-immigrant visa listed below has been revoked in pursuant to the Department of State Regulations 22 CFR 41122 and is no longer valid for application into the United States. Additional information became available after the below visa was issued. This revocation refers only to the visa listed below." He stated that there was no hard feelings as a result of the development and that he will continue to welcome Americans to his house in Abeokuta, Ogun State, as he has no issues with the people or the nation. He added that, as a global citizen, he will continue to speak against racism and what he feels wrong with policies of governments, including that of Donald Trump. Moving now in the news, presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the last election, Peter Obi, has raised concerns over reports of drug traffickers infiltrating Nigeria's courier and delivery services sector. Government agencies, including the Nigeria Postal Service, NIPOST, has raised the alarm, alleging that courier operators are ferrying dangerous weapons and illegal drugs in the country. Reacting, Obi, in a statement on Tuesday, described the report as worrisome. According to him, some revelation signals another sad reminder of how deep our national decay has become. When criminal networks can now use logistic companies to distribute narcotics across the country, it shows how weak our institutions and relevant monitoring systems are. The Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has repeatedly raised concerns about this trend, yet it continues to grow, apparently aided by corruption and poor regulations that have turned the enforcement body into a joke. Drug trafficking remains a big danger to society and a serious international offense that cannot be overlooked. It destroys families, fuels crime, and corrodes the conscience of a nation. A country already battling insecurity, large youth unemployment, and hunger cannot afford a drug-normalized culture. He continued, Nigeria therefore needs stronger oversight and must rise above this dangerous decline and rebuild a system where laws are sacred, leaders are accountable, and no one is above justice. Nigeria will only heal when character, truth, and responsibility return to governance, he said. Now, President Bola Tinubu has sent a letter to the Senate requesting the confirmation of the newly appointed service chiefs. The letter was addressed to Senate President Godswill Akpabio and read during Tuesday's plenary session in Abuja. It includes the confirmation of Chief of Defense Staff General Olufemi Oluyede, Chief of Army Staff Major General Wahidi Shuaibu, Chief of Naval Staff Rear Admiral Idi Abbas, Chief of Air Staff Air Vice Marshal Kennedy Aneke, and the Chief of Defense Intelligence Major General Emmanuel Undiendeye. In the letter, President Tinubu appealed to the Senate to expedite action on the confirmation of the appointments. The request has been forwarded to the Committee of the Whole for the screening and confirmation of the nominees next week. And now assets valued at millions of naira are rotting away at various locations across the country after the planned auction of the items by the Ministry of Water Resources failed to hold. The items, including unserviceable earth-moving machines and other heavy-duty industrial equipment, had been abandoned at various sites by the ministry for several years, where they have been overtaken by weeds. Many of the machinery are located at the Gurara Dam in Niger State, as well as the Upper and Lower Benue in Doma and across other sites. The ministry had, in a publication dated August 20, 2025, signed by Moses Joe Madugu, chairman of the Board of Scraps and Unserviceable Items Committee, announced plans to auction the items. However, it was gathered that the planned auction was stalled due to alleged conflict of interest among senior ministry officials. Speaking on the development, President of the Nigerian Association of Auctioneers, Musa Kura, suggested that the ministry is not sincere about the planned auction. Kura said the ministry appeared to be playing games, adding that the officials have since refused to follow the due process. He said, since August 20, 2025, when the ministry published an editorial about the planned auction of the heavy-duty machinery and other scraps and unserviceable assets, the officials have kept mum. They refuse to release further information about the auction. First, the advertisement is defective and vague. It was supposed to invite auctioneers to submit applications for appointments to sell on their behalf, but this was not done. Also, there were supposed to be second and follow-up adverts for the announcement of dates and location of sales to the public, but this was also not done. Everything is done in secrecy. Worse still, they are not involving auctioneers who by law are legally mandated to supervise the auction processes. What we learned is that they have been taking some contractors to the sites where the assets have been left abandoned for several years to rot away. This equipment was bought at millions of naira, but unfortunately they were abandoned under the sun and rain and allowed to go bad, Kura said. He accused the ministry's officials of frustrating the federal government's move to recover money from the abandoned assets. Kura further insisted that the auctioneers must be carried along in the disposal of the items as stipulated by law. Efforts to get the comments of relevant officials of the ministry concerning the stalled auction were not successful on Tuesday. Finally, now in the news, police operatives have sealed off the corporate headquarters of Nestoil Limited in Victoria Island, Lagos, after the company was placed under receivership by a consortium of lenders over a reported $1 billion debt. A federal high court sitting in Lagos had on October 22, 2025, issued an order of Mareva authorizing First Trustees and its subsidiary FBN Quest Merchant Bank to take over the company's assets. Justice D.I. Dipeolu issued the injunction against Nestoil Limited and its affiliate Nekond Energy Limited, as well as Ernest Azudialu Obiejesi and Nnenna Obiejesi, the principal promoters. That's all the news we have for you on Leadership TV. For more of our news stories, you can log on to our website www.leadership.ng. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.